Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. I hope everybody is doing well in Bounty. It's open mic, links on the right hand side in case you'd like to join. We're also going to talk quite a bit of think about the PvP adjustments that are coming with OP12, and hopefully we'll get an understanding of what we're actually doing next week, since I'm assuming it's going to be shipwrecks, but I haven't seen anything official. So, or even unofficial. So, let me welcome everybody. Lady Cat.
Hello.
Aussie.
Good morning, everybody.
Kenny.
Hello.
Magic Mike.
Howdy doody.
And Stormcatcher.
Hello, all.
Howdy.
This doesn't sound very happy.
Yeah, what's wrong, Stormcatcher?
I'm not awake right now.
Okay. Alrighty.
We'll wake you up.
Okay. All right, let's go to the calendar real quick. And yeah, like I said, there's been no official announcement, which we'll hope to get during the show. It's usually when BP next week drops. Whoops. Nope. I thought false alarm. Let's see what's going on next week. So let's go to the next slide. All right. One of the changes that's happened is the Destler Gatling gun got changed to be hull specific after the original announcement. This happened right before the store opened. So can't put it on the Breacher Dreadnought, or my favorite was the Revenant, which also had better concussive damage and it had a range boost.
That would have been fun.
Plus 12%, which might have been fun if in defense, since it would be able to outrange the Warhounds that were incoming. A lot of people were complaining about this, and I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts? I mean, I guess the first thought I would have is, why didn't they figure it out a week ago or 2 weeks ago, as opposed to just locking it right before it came out?
I can say it's better right before it came out than right after.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. If nobody else has any thoughts on that, that's the only reason I brought this slide up again. I don't know. From what I've heard, I just wouldn't be surprised if it's nerfed again, but we'll see. I think it has like 6 times the deflection damage of the previous depth charge. So, yeah, wouldn't surprise me at all. So
is this what's on those new ships right now? It's flattening me.
yes, that's
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, all right. If nobody has anything else, all right. We'll start with the stuff that everybody's going to agree with. The Conquest repair queue that we see in Bounty will be every day of the week, and they're going to turn half repair on during Bounty. I'm assuming this only refers to one of the queues. Your second one that has the Conquest ships in it. Not all of them, but I've tried to ask them some questions. I have not gotten any responses yet. So,
you're right. That's an interesting point, because the first thing I thought of was that if bounties half repaired, it'll make doing TLCs easier.
Mm-hmm.
But they turn it on only for the Conquerors. But, people that don't PvP or play bounty won't care, except they'll be getting hit more. But what about defenders? For your base,
Well, defenders are already at half repair.
right? But if they go to half repair again, it's like they do during the raid. It's half of half, isn't it?
I don't think it is for that slot.
I don't know.
I don't think it goes to quarter repair unless you use the grease monkey.
Okay.
Well,
So.
I read this, and the way they're changing base attack and everything, if the attacker loses inside your base, you won't have to worry about repairing your fleet.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, we're going to go through every single part, and don't skip ahead. And then if we want to combine them all later, that's all good. I'm just thinking that we can deal with them.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no problem. It's just sort of, we got a lot of them to go through, so I don't want it to get too muddled. Is basically the point.
Well, I'll do a thumbs up on this one.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to have any complaints. Maybe they would want a little bit more, but they're not going to complain about this change by itself. So, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, if everybody's in agreement and nothing else to talk about it, all right. Tier 9 Conquerors will not allow to be in defense fleets. They are at this point, but when OP12 goes live, all these rules come into place when OP12 goes live. Again, Tier 9 Conquerors, not Tier 8, not Tier 7, not Tier 6, will not allowed to be used in defense fleets. Tier 9 Defenders will not be allowed to attack bases, which I always found that sort of amusing when people were, trying to use them, because they're not very good at them. I know some people were sniping out ships with like lurkers and other things, but that's still allowable with the Tier 8 stuff, the stuff we've already seen. The Tier 9 stuff, just to get that straight, is the only thing that it's restricted from. So, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah. I personally think it's good. I don't think they ever should have been allowed. I use them in defense, and the reason I do is because they're better than the ships they give us to defend our bases. But I think in the long run, this is a good thing. It's just that during the transition period, it's going to be rough. That's my thought.
Well, there's not going to be a transition because, again, you can still use your Breacher Dreadnoughts. You can still, you can still use all your Tier 8 stuff until the end of days. They're just going to come out, outdated probably pretty quickly when the new Tier 9 Defenders come out. So it's not changing anything you're doing in your base right now.
Right.
But I wouldn't go around and design your base around the Warhound being your defense fleet,
right,
because that will change. But it's not changing anything that you don't already have going on at this point.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, they've been, as Damnation says, they've been wanting to do this for a while. It allows them to put us in a smaller and smaller box to some degree, especially because a lot of the Conquerors have advantages as far as build times and things that, build times is the big thing, that you can build them faster than you can build your defenders.
Yeah, but maybe if they improve the defenders going forward, then that would be a good thing. That would be helpful.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're going to be improved. It's just relative improvement to the ships that we're going to see. So, okay. These are the two that I thought would have be the least problematic. If there's no more on this one, I guess we can move on to the next one. All right. as opposed to the old 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100 plus outposts. That's out. We're not going to talk about how this impacts metals at this point because they semi-address it later. What you need to do to claim victory is kill the outpost, all the warehouses, the radio tower, which I don't have mine built anymore, but it's quick to build, and the Great Hall, and they are going to improve the health or / armor of the radio towers and the Great Halls. I don't know. I would have picked the outpost and the warehouses. I might have gone dock, but I understand why they didn't, because some people like to hit people's bases and leave the dock. But if I was going to go with the most important / key buildings, radio tower and Great Hall, I would have guessed day and night before I came up with those two. So, any thoughts on this one?
I need more information. Are we still going to have I know we're not having a percentage anymore, but will they still do like a partial bubble? Or is there
Okay, we're gonna get to that as far as how the bubble. Yeah, you will get a bubble. I'm assuming the 36-hour bubble. If all of these buildings are killed.
Right. Well, I'm going to want to know where's my 50% bubble.
No, there is no 50% bubble.
Well, that's what I meant.
Okay.
So either they destroy it all, and it's all or nothing.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I need to know. All or nothing.
Okay. Well, yeah, this sort of, unless anybody has anything on this part, going. Let's go to the next one that I think probably helps answer your question a little bit more. Bases, which means buildings, turrets, whatnot, and defense fleets will only take persistent damage if the attacker wins. So basically that means if your base is hit and they do not succeed in killing all those buildings, as soon as they retreat or it times out, everything will be repaired like it never ever happened before, except for one of the questions I have is if let's say somebody hits your outpost and all your warehouses and leaves your Great Hall and the radio tower, you don't get a bubble, but are they going to be able to get the resources? And then that part is a little bit off with me. And basically, if you lose base defense, meaning your outpost, warehouses, Great Hall, and radio tower are killed, you will get normal damage protection. 36 hours is the assumption that I'm working with. If you win, however, you suffer no damage and can still be attacked again. But if somebody fails on your base 3 times, I'm assuming within, I'm not sure what time period, they will not be able to attack you for a few days. I think somewhere later it says 3 days. So I think that's correct. Not just lost resources, but it will not just resources, but will it repair? Yes. If they don't kill all of those things, my understanding is that the base will repair, your ships will repair, your turrets will repair, your portal will repair if they don't complete it the way I'm reading this. But I'm curious if you get hit, the first 2 times they don't kill your Great Hall and your radio tower, are they still going to be able to suck resources off your full set of resources 3 times? And basically, with the capacity of these conquerors at this point, that could put somebody in a real hole.
It does now.
Well, but imagine if it happened 3 times.
Yeah, I know. Bounty every 4 hours. Yeah. They can wipe you out.
Yeah, and tell them this gets rid of prepping. Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, Kelvin. I mean, sorry. Yeah, you can't prep anymore because as soon as you retreat, the base is repaired again. So you go back in, and it's like you were never in there. Everything's repaired. So retreating isn't going to help anymore. It's pretty much, if you want to 100% that base, you got to do it in one go.
Yep.
That means
Yep.
the dock too, I guess.
Well, 100% is 100%.
No.
Every building, everything.
No, he's talking about what would repair.
Oh, who?
When Stormcatcher asked that question, my assumption
sorry,
is, yeah, he's assuming that your dock would repair if it's damaged in a unsuccessful attack, and that's the way I'm reading it. I assume it is. My question is, if you do, if let's say you do lose and you do get the blue bubble, are you also at this point? Is everything repairing again? I don't know. I mean, it might make bounty quite a bit more interesting if people are allowed to go and attack again. But I don't know. That's not really in here. I started to ask some questions, but I haven't got any feedback as far as how some of these dynamics are going to work, because it would allow you to go and attack that person back right away.
Yeah, they'd have to do a different type of mechanic for bounty, or else the person would never have a bubble. If you were just taking out the ops and the thing is, there is no 50% anymore, or there won't be. So how's that going to work? They need to specify that as well.
Say that one more time.
Okay, at the moment you do ops and 50%, correct? And that's your bounty. You're out of your retreat, and you've got the bounty.
Yeah.
But in bounty, if there's no 50% anymore, what do you kill to get the bounty? And if you only have to kill specific things, you must have to kill those buildings to get the bounty. You'd have to.
Yeah. Bounty rules will change too after all this happens.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. We don't really know what's going to happen there.
Right.
Yeah, and what's going to happen with the kickside bases and the, it might be different rules for the kickside bases and the replica bases. I don't know if those are going to adopt the same rules, that you need to kill them all. It might prevent people from doing the whole thing with trying to auto one, and I didn't kill it, and then I'll go back.
But the kickside bases, employee bases, and replica bases have always been different to hitting someone's base.
Yes,
you've always had to 100% a kickside employee base or replica base to get the bounty.
Yeah, that's true.
So that really doesn't change. I don't see how.
Well, we don't. That's what I'm saying is I consider it an unknown if those are going to change.
I would say
I don't think they would. I don't think they would, because why would they? I mean,
think
you hit someone's base, you only have to do at the moment 50%, but you have to kill a complete kickside base or replica base. So I don't think those would change. It's just the player bases, normal player base, that they need to specify on how that's going to work with Green Bounty.
Yeah.
I think Bounty's going to change. It's going to have to change almost completely. So we'll probably end up with the Bounty 2.0, and it'll have totally different rules. I'm more worried about...
Well, we're probably on 5.0 at this point, because they've changed the rules multiple times previously.
Well, it'll be...
Sorry, go on.
Just changes everything in the game.
Yeah,
or could they just leave Bounty as it is?
Or maybe we'll be...
People get rid of Bounty.
There we go. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time finding any appropriate flash screens for Bounty anymore, now that we're at such a high number. I mean, nobody's buying that many paper towels anymore. I mean, it's even, if you go to Costco or BJ's or Sam's Club, they're not providing, 28, 30 rolls, 30 rolls of paper towels at a time. I don't know.
So
I'm
we'll
not
have
really sure.
something. Maybe it's time for something new.
Yeah, maybe they'll just get rid of bounty because of that reason.
Well,
So-
I do have a question about this, though, and it's the resources. How are resources won and lost with these changes? People hit other players, friendly players, to get resources. It's,
Yeah, and that's what
wow.
Hefe was trying to say before.
Yeah,
If someone goes in there, they could just drain. Everyone, okay, you hit it 3 times, and so they've still got some resources left. And someone from from the alley goes in there and drains even more.
right.
Yeah.
You can have a whole
Because-
alley after one person to wipe them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Some one person is never going to have any. If they really annoy
Mhm.
someone,
Right.
they're never going to have any resources.
Well, that's my question. How are resources won and lost with this? So I would like more information on that.
Yeah, well, that's what
Yeah.
Hefe was.
I'm assuming it's the way it always has been. It's based on damage on the warehouses. So now I really like it because you have to protect all of them if you want to protect your resources. I like those days. I've said many times I really like defense, and right now people are putting their warehouses out in the outside because they want and the auras and special like all that. I kind of like the idea of getting back to you're protecting the most precious thing, your base, your outpost, and your resources, which are in the warehouses. Now everybody's going to have to pack all those.
Which I've always done because I've been playing when, way back in the day when, I remember when people would time everything with their bubbles so they could spend all their resources or build walls.
Yeah.
Right.
Build walls, recycle them to get them. But what happens if, like the example right now with the Warhound coming out, and somebody just doesn't like you, and they're able to run over your base without really any problems, and then they, even if you have them all hidden in the center, you are just wiped out of resources. And as like Ozzy brought up, and let's say a whole alliance doesn't like you, or a couple people in an alliance, or a couple people that whoever, then they can just empty you out, and you never have a chance. As long as they don't hit all of those buildings, they can hit most of them. But if they leave the Great Hall and they leave the radio tower, they can keep you empty of resources and for the next 3 years. And
Hang
that's
on, is
they
it ops
need
as
to-
well?
what?
Is it ops as
They
well?
need to fix it where if
You don't get resources unless you get a
you
victory.
win.
Yeah.
But it's the OP. You got to kill the OP as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes. True.
But yeah, I'm guessing that's what it'll be. Is you don't get any resources if you lose.
Yeah, I think that's how it should be. Yeah, that's how it should have always been.
Well, except for as Kenny brought up earlier, people were using the warehouses as bubble pad, and that's not really what they were meant to be used as, or a way to put a tactical aura out. That's not what they were meant to be. And so, yeah, I can see both sides of that one. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. And I wish we got a few more details, and I'm still not seeing a response to my questions, so I don't have any answers yet. But I do see some problems with it, and we'll get into the problem with metals in a minute later on. But any more on this one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because we'll have a big culmination conversation. Let's see the next.
Damnation. I'm only planning to protect my radio tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, I think you said to me earlier, Hefe, that they're going to add armor to some of this stuff. But if they don't, the radio tower, basically, all you do is drive past it, and the damn thing blows up.
Yeah, they said they're going
You don't have to, pretty much don't even have to shoot at it.
Yeah. It's
Gunboat will do it.
Yeah, like a saltwater said, it'll go over in a breeze.
Yeah.
But your outpost still has a shitload of armor on it. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, but if you try and protect, you can't really protect your
But
radio.
can you imagine the
Any
bases now
splash is going to kill it.
where the only thing you have to have in the center of your base is the radio tower? You put your outpost wherever. I mean, this can be some really funky base design. I hated the fact that 9 out of 10 bases now are that big island, the big atoll, and a zigzag in front of the entrance. Like 8 or 9 out of 10 bases look like that now. This is going to change dramatically how people design their bases, which is kind of
I know.
cool.
I was just thinking that myself. I'm sitting here looking at my base, thinking, this is going to be a real big change.
This could make Half Centaur's base styles more appealing.
Yeah.
Because part of it is slowing them down too, making it take a long time to reach all these certain buildings and get it all done in one hit.
Another thing I wish they had done is just made it the outpost, period. Just the outpost. Just because.
No, I like the strategy because now you can spread these things, like as Lady Cat was saying, you can spread these things around. You can put them, he broke them into 2 different cells, a north cell and a south cell, forcing you to go in, hit another gate, spend more time, drive around, and then I don't know if I like just one, because they need to kill all of them, not just one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this could make it very, very
two entries
for
now.
defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, two separate islands, basically.
You could have 4 bases out there. I mean, put 4 mini bases in there and make them have to go through each one.
Yeah, well, it'll still be a 5-minute hit. They're going to work on that. That's mentioned later.
Because that's the whole thing. The way they're going to design it is if your base is designed properly, it's going to time out if it's only still at 5 minutes. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That'd be changed too.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, timeout bases were the way to go. There, I forget what year that was, but yeah, at one point.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you just try to
slow them down.
Slow them down, make them, fire through stuff because you had a bunch of short range stuff that was going to keep them from trying to rush to the back of the base, and you would just make them kill this, make them kill that, and then have them move on, force them to have a lot of countermeasures. There was a lot of stuff that was going on early on that was really helped with the timeout bases. And then, there was also the timeout bases associated with, even more recently, associated with the some of the portals, the slowdown, and they got rid of that with the whatever they call them, the refactors, the PvP refactor. They really dumbed down or nerfed the rest of it. Who's outside?
Who's in a breeze? Who's on a boat fishing?
Not me.
Okay. Well, I might have got that one.
Stopped.
Yeah. Well, I muted somebody. So, all right.
Must be Stormcatcher because he's on a boat.
Yeah.
Driving right by the statue.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Don't unmute yourself unless you go. Yeah, okay.
Indoors.
Stormcatcher, don't. Yeah. So, the most notable change is probably that the prep tips are no longer possible since the base and the defense fleets only take damage on a defeat, which triggers a blue bubble. An attacker must win in a single hit to secure a win. If the defender's base is a puzzle, an attacker must solve it. You get 3 attempts to learn before the red bubble kicks in. And bubble pad no longer exists. That's true. It's meant to give you more flexibility as opposed to, playing around with what buildings are, it's, it makes sense in my mind as long as the details are worked out. Some of the details that we're talking about at this point. I mean, it does make sense. It's a huge change, but it does make a certain amount of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. And going forward, I think it'll be good for them. It's just we pirates that have been playing this game for a long time, we have a certain mindset about how this is supposed to work, and this changes everything. So you have to. A lot of people are going to be, I don't want to say fearful, but they'll have concerns about changes this big. So I hope there's lots of discussions about it before it happens.
I think one good thing about this is, I mean, at the moment, someone preps you out, they lose their fleet, right? Or pretty much dead fleet. They go out, they repair the fleet, your base is damaged, you know, just under 25%. They go back in with the full fleet. This way, they can repair their fleet, but the base will be back to where it was, so they're going to start all over.
Yeah.
So I think that is good because.
Has anybody considered this might not be the most revenue-friendly things for Kicksite? I'm a little. The only thing I have only one reservation, and it's not on my side; it's on their side. I have people hit me 2 or 3 times and coin to get in the second and third time. They just eliminated that.
I think they're gambling that there is going to be more people hitting bases. I think that's the gamble that they're playing here. At least, when I looked at it, I think more people are going to participate at this point and base it.
But I enjoyed generating money for Kicksite.
Okay.
That's why you suicide your fleets all the time.
Yeah, we watch you all the time.
But having like somebody hit once and go, oh, that's not. I mean, I like getting hit, and I'm not going to get hit as much. I don't think.
Well, the normal testers be testing that. Me and you, or
that'll be us.
yeah, yes, not everybody. Yeah, it'll get released, and then
we'll send
then
in
we're
tickets and tell them what's wrong with it.
Yeah, that's if that's what you mean. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think normal people will get to test this, which is a shame in a way because there are people like Jeff that likes to defend. He might not be a big base hitter, but he's good at defending. So he should have the opportunity to participate in testing as well. People like that. Just saying.
They're getting moany.
Moany. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. Moany. No, it wasn't Moany. What was that song?
Money.
No, not money. Moany.
Money.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think we've figured out this part. Let's move on to the next slide.
Well, then we're probably better than Kickside. We figured it out.
What does this mean for medals? Nothing directly. The new victory defeat rules are built to plug and play with the medal system as is. I wouldn't be surprised to see a meta shift, some under the new rules. And there's almost certainly a more optimal way to approach base combat and base defense than there was under the previous system. So while that means there's almost certainly going to be some volatility while people figure out what works best now, the medal system isn't being changed directly at this time. This I don't understand.
No.
Because the medal system works. So if somebody doesn't kill all those buildings, the defender gets medals?
Probably that's what happens now. They're not changing it.
No. If you get 50%, I don't understand this at all. And this,
if there is no more 50%, it means they'll only get medals.
Well, but it also says they're not changing anything.
Right, which means you only get
50%.
medals.
Which means the defender will get medals.
Yeah, the defender.
Yeah, unless you get
win.
Yeah.
Unless the person doesn't win.
Well, I would prefer that they just said that.
Yeah.
As opposed to nothing changes, things are changing.
Yeah. It has to change because there's no
They mean
50%
victory.
anymore.
The victory conditions haven't changed, or have changed, but the effects of victory and defeat.
Well, there was graduations of the victory conditions.
Yeah,
now
right.
it's binary.
All or nothing. Yep.
Yeah.
But I think the medals were always based on. The medals haven't changed.
So they said there may be, they may change some of it. So maybe they won't. maybe they won't give you your medals for defending as much. I don't know.
No, I have to. That's at least that's what the words say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Only
Just
one
get rid of the
victory
medals
condition now
altogether.
instead of 3 levels. And there was only one set of medals. It was on defense victory. Now defense victory is it can't be defined any other way other than the person didn't win.
Right.
You either win or you don't win. You win, you get the medals. If you don't win, you lose medals.
Exactly. I'm hoping it's that simple.
Well, that's how it has to be.
Well, that's what I was saying.
It's exactly what it says, though.
Maybe they'll come up with 2 medals, one for offense and one for defense.
That doesn't make sense either.
No,
But,
It's a win or it's not a win. That's it. It's black or white.
yeah, but my
There's no grey area in that. It's a
But-
win or it's not a win.
yeah, but the new victory defeat nothing. Well, they're saying nothing changes, and that's the part where I'm confused. I mean, the new victory defeat rules are built to plug and play. So I'm assuming that means that if you enter somebody, I mean, and where does it kick in? You know, if you enter somebody's base and do not kill the outposts, the warehouses, the radio tower, and the Great Hall, you lose medals, even if you're scouting. I mean, what you know, where the, I mean,
yeah, they're going to have to be a threshold of some sort.
Yeah. I mean,
like you're going to have to.
Yeah.
No.
And most people have stuff
base.
outside their base,
Yeah.
so it can't be just you hit something because you're going to hit something just by going in usually. So yeah, that's a bit of a unknown there.
Because if you just wanted to, throw a gluttony into someone's base just to have a look, see what it looks like, for if it's underwater.
Well, the word unchanged
and then
implies
what? You
that
come out and you've lost medals because you didn't win.
the word unchanged implies that maybe the defense condition doesn't change. In other words, you get the medals the same way.
And plug and play what?
The
That doesn't make
victory
sense.
rules. They're changing all the rules for PvP as far as what you win. I mean, how you defeat a base or how you don't defeat a base. That's just going to go into effect no matter what. But leaving the medal system, they're not changing how the medal system works. So at the beginning, it does look like you'll only win medals if you defeat the base or you defeat the attacker. Just like it is now. It's no different. There's just no 50%, 75%, or 100%.
J-Vlog, what I'm saying is there's not enough details in what we're seeing here to quite understand it. I've tried to ask some questions. I haven't gotten any feedback. What we're doing right now is purely speculative, and sort of it's more of a cry for more information. So that's.
It's saying nothing's changing. Well, it's an impossibility. It has to change.
Yeah. So,
it can't work without a change.
Well, that's not exactly true. Cat says so too.
Yeah, I agree.
Your cat doesn't know what it's talking about.
All right, let's go to the next slide.
That's an after-show conversation.
Yeah. What about prepping? I kind of like prepping. It's an opportunity for skill and nuance.
We've been over that.
If somebody wants to read this out loud, he agrees with him, and I don't know how interesting it all ultimately hinges on how creative players get with base building and how interesting we're willing to make tier 9 game pieces to be. I don't see how you can prep.
No, there will be no prepping. But he's saying that skill and nuance it'll open up another area for skill and nuance.
Okay.
You can't have a prep be your skill anymore.
Okay.
But you're going to have skills to do this. And there's going to be skill and nuance to attack a base 100%. And also, the same skill and nuance will happen with the people defending. Think of, again, how Centaur's base and how interesting that was. So there's other ways to take advantage of how you play this game.
But you know what it does do that makes me nervous? Is it's now it's now to have the best ships or you're locked out of the knocking out a base. So prepping allowed remember, I'm always talking with the intermediate or less than top tier players. They're going to be locked out of base hitting because if they don't have the best conqueror, which maybe the entire motivation which scares the heck out of me too.
And maybe that's how they're expecting to get their coin.
Exactly, and that scares me, that concept, because again, we'll be locking out intermediate players out of the game, and it's been happening a lot lately, and I don't like that.
Well, intermediate players will still be able to hit each other. What'll be bad is that so will the high level players be able to hit the intermediate players.
I don't see too many intermediate level bases anymore on defense. But
what I can see is all the baby seals are going to get flattened 24/7.
Yeah, and I don't even have to be, I'm just saying it's not even the baby seals. It's going to be all the intermediate players who can get slapped 24/7.
Oh, and ally points. You have to 100% a base to get ally points.
Yeah, they're pretty silent on that issue too.
No, it'd probably be the same as getting the.
Okay, who's making music there?
It's not me.
Is your cat walking across the keyboard?
Kenny, it's you.
Yes, it's me. I can't stop it. I can't stop it. The bells, the bells.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of little things that we haven't thought of. Hopefully they have. It will be interesting. I know they're going to have a test area, I guess, for the PvPers to go play. And what concerns me is the PvPers aren't going to come back and tell us anything. Because why would they? They don't want us to be able to defeat, to win over them. So they're not going to tell us anything. We're not going to get help like we normally do. PvE, nobody cares. We can all help each other get better. But when it comes down to PvP, people are pretty close-lipped. So the people that are doing the testing may not be forthcoming with information, and they're going to learn things long before we do on how best to defend or hit a base. Does that worry you at all? Anybody?
Yeah, it's always been true, though.
Yeah, but this is a big one.
Yeah. The intermediate players, again, are the ones that are going to get hurt by it. I mean, the big players all share.
Yeah, the big alliances, and the big PvP alliances.
They're catering to that, have been for a couple of years now, so.
Yeah, I hesitate some with all of this because I don't want them to lose balance. Right now, I mean, it's a thin line, but there is some balance between PvP players and PvE players, and I'm not sure what will happen when this goes forward. Are we going to lose that balance altogether and the PvE players be kind of left out in the dust?
I guess what I'm saying is that they were before, they still are.
Okay.
But I don't think this changed that. They're still going to get clobbered. Now, if any of these resourcing things we're talking about where you can be kept drained happens, they better address that. Because for me, when they started doing the auto repair your base when you're at work, they solved the majority of my problems.
Yeah, me too.
Especially the ships continuing to build after you've been hit. That completely solved my major problem with defense getting kind of screwed.
And I hope they continue, even if we get a bubble. I hope they continue to let the dock repair and the shipyards repair at the very least. Just put it on auto repair the whole base. That'd be great.
Okay. Let's go to the next. Do we have another slide? Let's see. Here's where they talk about the adjustments. It seems like it's impossible for the attacker, which I think a lot of people are going to have an issue with the recent release of the Warhound. They're talking about increasing speeds of the ships, increasing the attack time and things of that nature to tune it at some point later. So they do realize that, they are going to be required to make some potentially make some changes later on. So they're not completely like, okay, we got it all figured out.
Right.
So,
which is good. But, like I said, I'm worried that the testers won't be forthcoming with information for the rest of the community.
Yeah, it really depends on, I don't know how they're testing this. I mean, I don't know if it's, internal or whatnot. And yeah, who knows? Because there's already been a lot of unanswered questions, I think. So,
So in balance, just a poll, I think, except for the unanswered questions, I kind of like it.
There's a lot of good ideas that haven't been fully clarified. So I agree with you. I mean, I think it changes the game significantly. And I think they'll probably, especially if your base auto repair, I might be more willing to participate in bounty if my base, how does the bubbles work in bounty? I don't know, as far as, because I might be more willing to participate in PvP and bounty if I don't have to spend, how long does it take to repair a portal at this point?
Well,
13
the longest
hours?
bubble you got is 4 hours, so
Right.
at the moment it's
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If if you under these rules, if your base loses, or if your base loses, you still have a 12-hour repair, but a 4-hour bubble.
But these aren't addressing that. That's a different dimension of a different problem that isn't affecting this, is it?
I would hope it would. I mean, I would hope they would look at all of it in totality, and try to address.
This is pretty big already. I can't imagine addressing everything all at once.
Yeah.
But except for using the same rules to apply across the board. But all I'm asking for at this point is, even if you do lose, are you still going to have 12, 13 hours of repair time and a 4-hour? It seems like something that could be addressed at the same time.
Could have been, but I'm just saying it's unrelated.
I see a relation, but yeah.
I just, as a defender, didn't like the fact people could throw money at my base. Now they can't, so I'm happy about that. Even if Kixeye hopefully is playing a gamble, and wins, but.
Except for if they get to they almost kill all the stuff, they might, Yeah.
Well, that's what they're saying in the beginning, but in these questions and I think it was in the questions and answers, that you learn the base. You go in there, you look at the base, you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
You strategize. You might not be able to get it the first time, but then you go back in. That's why they're giving you 3 goes at it.
And the base designs are all going to change now, so it's going to be.
That's what they're saying. So you can.
I hate to be such a Molly Sunshine here, but the base designs are going to change. People are going to have to think on their attacks. It's the only thing I don't like is again, intermediate players with their dreads are probably not going to get in most even intermediate bases anymore because they won't be able to prep.
I looked up Molly Sunshine, and I still have no idea what that means.
I made it up. How do you like it?
Okay. No wonder I couldn't find. The whole Google world didn't know what Molly Sunshine was. So. Okay. Just double checking.
I'm sure there's a better or an actual real one that I could have used there, but
Okay. I was just checking. Molly Sunshine is not in my vocabulary.
it's not a
so-
Beatles song.
No, I don't think so.
I like Jay Log's idea about turning the arena into kind of like a sandbox where we could go play and maybe learn some of this stuff. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's been brought up before, but
Yeah, the sandbox idea would be brilliant for testing and a lot of other things, but people would just play the sandbox all the time because it's more fun than the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
but
no-
in the sandbox, you don't actually get to keep anything you win.
Yeah, but if you just like attacking bases, you don't really care about alliance points or resources.
Or medal.
I would spend all my time, literally, I'd spend all my time playing in the sandbox. That sounds funny.
Mhm.
Maybe they'd have to charge coins to be in the sandbox to make it revenue neutral. But I'd pay many players have said this. They'd rather pay a monthly fee and have the game be free than to pay as they play.
well, that's a monthly. Yeah, that is. I assume you realize you conflicted yourself there, but yeah, that's not going to happen.
A sandbox it's not conflicting. A sandbox you pay to be in for time or hits or whatever would be an alternative to revenue stream for the game.
He wants a buffet so he can just pay one price, do everything, have everything.
And all you can hit buffet. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you put a parking meter on it.
And I wouldn't have to wait days for hits and things like that. I could be in there putting my base up for hits.
Testing. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, build your own poutine all you can eat bar. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah. Just put your base in there and you get
and then we put the brown gravy down, and yeah, we're all good. So yeah, I don't think at least under the normal Kicksai before it got switched over, that was not something that they were looking at, and it's because I think it would kick out a lot of players if you're charging
Right.
Well, that's
$15.99.
But they're only saying that's when you don't have to pay any cost for repair. Repair time is all free.
Yeah, but you're still interacting with players that aren't doing this.
Yeah, you pull myself included, a lot of people out of the real game and into the sandbox.
Yeah.
And then you'd lose. They might end up losing revenue.
Well, unless you're because then you would just need to have a couple people that join. 4 people that join it. They all do shows. They all interact with each other, and they explain the best way to do things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that'd be good too.
Well, except for that wouldn't really be a revenue generator for them if only 4 people were playing around in the sandbox.
That's true.
But
I'd like it.
Yeah. No, it would be cool, but I just don't see it as.
It's really an alternative game model. They can't really compete, or they can't compete with themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it would be a great beta testing thing if they put it up for 12 hours before they push out like these changes. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, we still haven't seen BP next week. And it's one of the more curious BP next weeks because we don't even have an announcement of what's coming next. So I
don't know what to build. Do I work on my fleets for shipwreck? Do I work on more basers? Do I need to go work on upgrades for? Well, I can't because I'm upgrading my riots. But yeah, what do I need to be building or doing to get ready for something that's coming? And I don't know what's coming.
On a separate but related topic, what the hell are we doing with our tokens while we're upgrading?
Yeah.
That is well, you can only store so many.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm still trying to come to grips with what's going on with um, the Reef Rider engine. I mean, I could see it either way until we've seen the Reef Rider engine and the open water battery. So you could use those.
Except for your 2-day tokens are still particularly hard to use.
Okay. 2-day tokens. What I'm thinking is I will combine that with. Right now I have 2 regular riots that are at. No, well, I have one. I have one at X1, and then I'm working right now on getting the Raging Riot at X1. And at that point in time, I don't know that I want to have the specialized armors, because at this point in time, the survival doesn't make sense anymore. So the additional evade and the additional armor make more sense than the specialized armors that deal with survival. So you could, on the X1 ships, change over your ships in regards to that. And
Folded ferrite.
yeah, the folded ferrite. I mean, if you're at X1, I mean, it seems to make more sense because the actual survival doesn't matter as much.
So what do you gain from the folded ferrite?
You gain another 50,000 armor, and you get more. You get evade.
Okay.
So I mean, that's one way I'm looking at it. And if you want to do the Reef Rider and you want to do the open water battery, but again, you need to do, if you do the Reef Rider on one ship, you need to do it on all of them,
Right.
which really doesn't deal with the 2-day tokens. But if you want to change over your armor, because my thought is I'm going to do it on the Flag and the 5th ship. In regards to the armor, in using the folded ferrite.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Something to do with some tokens. The problem is we need upgrade tokens. Our normal building is horrible because we can't build chips or refit chips anymore because we're too busy upgrading. So we need like a upgrade, like a dry dock or something for our upgrades.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen.
Remember, the expression to be careful what you wish for?
Yeah.
I just got hit by a pair of warhounds.
I got hit earlier. How'd they do?
They made it through. It's 69% damage on both of them, so I'm happy about that. But they took lots and lots of event points. I was halfway to 5,000.
I got hit with them, and I only had 175 bounty. So they didn't hit me to get my bounty. They just hit me to hit me.
They're testing them out. So
I don't blame them. I'd probably be doing the same thing if I had them.
I will say I'm never going to play bounty except in the first 24 hours starting this time, because it's such a grind once you've got the speed of the first day. And it's like jumping in a Ferrari for the first day and then a Yugo for the remaining 3 days.
Well, I did try to do shipwrecks. I was not able to do any Kix employee bases because I do not have the fleets. I do not have a finished subjugator even. So I could not do the Kix bases. But I did try shipwrecks, but because I had so much trouble getting through the towers, I just gave up. It was really frustrating. I'm not using HTML. I'm still using Flash, but I still had trouble with the towers.
Okay. Yeah, and I want Kenny to know they haven't made a Yugo in 12 years, so you're leaving out the younger audience.
Yeah, and actually at work I give them the Yugo version of the estimate, and they all look at me funny.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know when the popularity of the Yuga was, but I'm guessing it's at least in the U.S. was probably about 30 years ago.
What I wonder what the
25
equivalent.
years ago.
Wonder what the equivalent is for this generation.
I think we've gotten rid of that. I mean, I mean, even like the Kia's improved, and there's a lot of cars that used to be that way, but I don't know. We can ask the group as far as what is the junkiest new car you could buy at this point in time. I don't know. I mean, we could wake up Magic Mike and say Ford, but yeah. Oh, well, the Tatas. I would have gone with the Tatas just by itself. But do they sell that in the U.S.?
I don't know. Are there any more slides on?
No. Well,
HTML.
Yeah.
Well, at least I found out the Warhounds are not unstoppable.
Not yet. I have time.
Well, there is only 2 of them, of course, but
Right.
when somebody has 5 of them, I think that's going to be a problem. But
Yeah.
they didn't get in with unscathed. I kind of looked at, maybe these aren't armored though, the ones that are hitting me, because they're getting hurt just as bad as normal ships.
That car.
No.
That car?
Yeah. Well, yeah, yes. It's got some issues.
Oh, that hurts my eyes.
I know. It does, eh?
Yeah, my eyes are going, what am I looking at?
It's got a nice paint job, though.
Yeah.
I thought it was Mr. Bean's car. Does that hate me again?
All right.
Do you remember?
At this point, I'm just waiting for BP next week.
Does anybody watch or anybody know this Mr. Bean show?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
There's a car that looks a bit like that, only a little less twisted.
The thing's messing with my eyes.
Yeah, it is. It's hurting. It's funny you should say that. It is hurting my eyes. My brain is having trouble with that.
I was away for a minute. I came back and looked at this. What the heck?
It's giving me a headache looking at it. It's weird.
Stop looking at it.
I can't. It's like a car wreck.
I know. It is like, you cannot stop looking at it. That's the thing.
It's like your brain's trying to make sure.
It's having trouble. It doesn't know what to do.
I wonder if it actually is it Photoshop or real.
I have no idea.
Imagine trying to drive the sucker. Have you ever tried that bike? You ever tried that bike where the wheel turns the opposite way to where it actually turns? So you actually have to reverse left and right while you're trying to ride a bike? No. I'll take that as a no.
I'd be on the ground.
Most people are actually. Oh, that's Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a different. I think he had a vehicle with the one wheel in the front or something. Oh no, that's the guy he kept tipping over every time he cut him off.
Yeah, when he was in the car park, in the underground car park, or the multi-story car park, and he went out. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was always tipping over the three-wheeled guy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we haven't figured out what we want to do for next week if they're not posting anything by now.
This is a particularly bad breach because we have no clue at all this time.
Right.
Oh, this one.
I mean, we could have guessed last time. I just hope
I'm assuming it's going to be shipwrecks because
I
nobody
hope
wants it. That's right. Yeah.
if,
That's
if
my
they're,
assumption.
if they're listening to the show, can we all in unison say no? Say no to shipwrecks. Oh, lovely says no.
Oh yeah. The cat's all for it, but yeah,
That car.
it's
That's
Is
it.
there a motorcycle driving it?
No,
It
It's
seems like
actually
a
a car.
motorcycle, but it seems like there's a motorcycle in the center, and then this is just to keep them from falling over. It's like an old person's motorcycle, isn't it?
They don't though. They actually do fall over. When they turn, if they turn too quickly a corner, they actually roll over onto their side.
Yeah,
You try and call that a bike?
it's called a Regal, a Reliant Regal, and it actually exists, and it does roll over.
Yeah.
Roll over.
Well, the Reliant Regal. So now we're going to get into why Harry and Meghan left the left. I mean, you know, you're from Canada, so why did they go to? Why did the royals go to Canada?
It's a safe place.
Okay, you know.
Is marijuana's legal?
But they do have the issue with the donuts, so you know.
Yeah, but see, that's getting all the Canadians are worrying about donuts now, so they can be safe and comfortable and not have to listen to their own problems.
Okay.
The media is probably too busy on donuts to worry about them.
So I don't know.
And that's the
Going to do this.
and that's the whole problem.
So,
Don't have to go there.
What?
I just don't have to go there. Yeah, I watch these over and over again as
Here we
my
go.
kid grew up.
Here we go. It's the three-wheeler you're talking about.
Yep. You imagine how much paint you'd lose from rolling over like that.
okay. Well, I don't know. Do we have much left that's Battle Pirates related, or
Have we gone into this?
you know,
Being related.
maybe I'll have to do a show tomorrow with BP next week because we're at a complete loss here as far as what's happening next week. So I feel bad, but
Well, do you want to
Yeah.
open it up? Does anybody want to come on and talk about PvP?
well, I've been posting the link. Nobody wants to show up,
Okay.
so they're scared of you. That's what they tell me.
Game of Thrones time.
So, alrighty. Unless anybody wants to come on, or you want to prod Geely to come up with BP next week, or anybody else has anything else to say, because I need to get another beer. It's 10 after 8, so I've been going for over an hour. So
Howard.
I do get my breaks, right?
You get 6 minutes an hour by state law here.
Okay, look at that. I don't even get that.
There you go.
I feel like shift where he's going for like 2.5 hours straight. I'm like, wow, look at him go. It reminds me of the show.
I used to have 4-hour shows. I remember those days.
Yeah. I'm getting old.
I guess we can just end the show then. Nobody wants to talk.
So, alrighty. Well, I'm sure it'll get posted 10 minutes later. But the link's there in case anybody wants to talk about something new.
They're waiting to see
You
the
can
show.
trick them and put another show up in a half an hour.
Yeah, or we could all be really quiet.
Yeah, just very,
Be really quiet. I won't have
very
part of the
quiet.
show. Just everybody, shh! Don't make a noise. They won't know we're here, and then they'll post it.
It's like we're
That's a
hunting
possibility. Well,
We can put Discord up and see what they're.
rabbit. Be very, very.
well, no. Something is going on because pretty much all the Kickside people have left over the last couple minutes. So they're doing they're plotting something.
It's
It's only
time.
it's only Chris. It's only Chris who does War Commander now. Corbin, who is the best soldier in the world, does everything for the player base. He's there, and then Saltwater is yellow, but everybody else is gone. So I don't know if it's happy hour or what's going on, but yeah.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Like in California.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, they're supposed to be doing BP next week, and what's going on next week?
They heard us talk about Shipwreck, and they're busy rewriting it right now.
Well, I talked about Shipwreck on I think about 4 shows because that's what my assumption was, and I didn't like it. So they've had a couple weeks. Yeah, so
I did like Shipwreck because I can't keep up with it. There's too much. They made it too complicated. Too many ships. Too many upgrades.
too many skins.
Too many skins. I can't even tell what fleet I'm hitting anymore.
Yeah. All righty. Well, I guess we'll end everything, and
Don't edit everything. That's really sad.
we will all, and I'm not suggesting
Oh,
any
we're-
Kool-Aid for the whole group, but we'll end the show for the evening, and maybe we'll, or we could just be really, really quiet and they don't hear what we're doing. But I think I'm more likely just going to end the show. We're going on for an hour and 15 minutes. Or we could be really, really quiet. They won't know. So I'm not sure which way to go. But I think I'm probably going to end the show at this point. And see you all next week. Or, maybe we'll pop back later. And if it's not Shipwrecks, because I assume it's going to be Shipwrecks. So
So you'll have an emergency broadcasting if there's something unusual.
Yeah. You have to be subscribed in order to get that. So if you want to go there, because I'm not going to post it everywhere.
No,
So you have to get.
I'm telling you what it is. They've heard our dismay at Shipwrecks, and they're busy rewriting their whole plan for next week.
What, to give us shipwrecks?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the last couple of weeks, I've been saying, I hope it's not Shipwrecks. I hope it's not Shipwrecks. So we'll see what they actually do. But, I think it will be Shipwrecks unless we get something, because there's no holiday, right? What's the holiday that's going to be next week?
There's no American holidays or Canadian one.
What?
No.
You always tell them what you don't want
So they can do it.
so they can do it.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Or we could take a 5-minute break. It'd be very, very quiet. And, maybe we'll get something posted. I don't know.
Well, if you stop
What does everybody
talking,
think?
we would be quiet.
5-minute break?
5 minutes works.
Okay. Well, you guys can talk. I need,
Yeah.
Talk amongst
after
yourselves.
an hour and 15 minutes, I need to take a leak. And,
Oh, TMI.
We need some new blood to come in and chat.
Okay. Well, I posted the link, so.
Nobody's there. Shame on you guys. Come on.
Yes. we need to have
Can't even bring the baby on.
we need to have a
Ready to go
dance
out.
break. So.
A dump and run brief.
Do we need like this theme song from Jeopardy to play?
Do, 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 do.
Well, do we want a quiet 5-minute break, or do we want to talk about something else?
I
We'll talk
Did
about.
my thing.
Never mind. Okay.
did my thing with the three wheeled car and all that stuff, so I'm running out of ideas.
You let the catwalk crush your keyboard again?
And play music. Yeah,
That was weird. It's like,
yeah. Well, she was standing on a USB cable, and it was
oh,
playing,
is that what was happening?
and it kept unplugging and plugging in, so it was playing the tune of connection and disconnection.
Hefe's gone away. I need him back.
So for a non-PvP type player, this is going to be fairly traumatic.
It's going to be traumatic for everybody. It's just as or even more traumatic for the PvP players.
Yeah, I only did a little bit of kind of base defense, and now it's like I have to go through that whole mess again.
Oh, this is going to change everything. You
Or
won't have,
I just consign myself still to be PvP and just wait the 2 hours if my doc gets killed and carry on from there.
well, to me, it depends on resources. And are they going to wipe me clean?
I'm not spending any more money in this game.
Yeah, well, that's not what they want to hear.
I know, but it's just too. It's getting to be. Too complex is the wrong word. I can't think of the right word.
Well, I mean, maybe they're trying to promote it to a whole new audience.
I got a question. Aussie, you still on?
I believe I am.
Okay. Well, I don't know sometimes. My Praetorian, right? I'm trying to do that 139 target. I cannot get it under an hour. No way, no how, no matter what I do. What's the key component that is allowing
Driving.
Because I thought I was driving the way Aussie showed the path that one day. But no matter what I do, it's an hour and 3, it's an hour and 5, it's an hour and 10. It's like, what the hell? I've put the new rockets on, which I know are not a big deal, but I had the time.
Hang on a minute. Hefe, can you screen share?
He's off getting a beer, so that's why.
It's come back.
Oh, he has? I'm sorry. That's why I started talking, because I thought he was still away. I'm sorry.
He's back. It's not muted anymore. Oh, maybe he's not. Okay, carry on.
You made him forget what he was talking about.
No, I've changed a couple of armors try and.
Are they, what's your U rating?
U3.
Okay.
They're all at U3. One's a counter ship. I don't know. I just, no matter what I've done, I can't get it under the hour. And I just thought, because I know you were doing it for like, what, 36? Okay. 40 minutes.
Was I only got that once. The rest have been around about 43, 46 at the most.
Okay, so that's kind of.
And that's with no crew.
Well, I never use a crew. I'm stupid.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't use crews. So there's got to be something I'm left off of this stupid thing, and I don't know. We can talk about it later or whatever have you. But I thought there was some kind of, maybe I got a wrong special on or something. But
yeah, Hefe's back.
Okay,
yeah.
Sort of.
No problem.
An intermission. I love it.
Well, as far as like the people on the news, they got to talk for they have to talk for like 8 minutes, and then they get like a 5-minute break. We go on for hours with no,
Right.
And that's something you watch shows and you only get 8-minute clips. So
That's just
8
gonna make
minutes
me
of commercial. Anyway.
So I don't know. I'm not sure if we were required enough to. I don't know. Does anybody want to hit anything?
I started.
Should we try to wait them out? you know, or should we end the show? We could wait them out, but you know, I'm not sure how good of a, you know, people like that. You know, people left. You know, so I don't know. Get a soda and a hot dog and some popcorn. You're all good. Is this an Australian one or
No,
you
I
know?
just got it off YouTube.
Okay, because it looks like
No, I think it's
19.
American.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
1969, 67.
Yeah, I remember that from when I was
Yeah,
dating
it
because
just
we,
says it's a there you go.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
vintage
yeah,
drive-in
the-
intermission break.
we used to go to the drive-in 3 nights a week, and this is very familiar.
Yeah, the all meat hot dog. What were they before?
See the mosquitoes? That's funny.
Yeah.
And they used to go up and down the rows with spraying that fog and it was probably that stuff that's deadly now in the drive-in. Anybody remember that?
Nope.
I never been to a drive-in.
Well, none of you guys are as old as me, I guess. But
No, I remember going to drive-ins as a kid.
did
The
they drive?
I
Did
don't
they-
know.
Did they fog the?
I don't remember that because we
Oh.
were always in the station wagon.
Oh.
We were just little kids, and I guess we couldn't afford a babysitter, so we all had to sleep in the back of the station wagon while our parents watched the movie.
Yeah, I used to be a truck driver way back when I was dating, and it was like early up and long hours, and so when we were dating, we'd go to the drive-in. I'm being honest, and I would most of the time just sleep, and she'd watch the movie about three nights a week.
Okay.
I knew you wouldn't believe it. I knew you wouldn't believe it.
I've
But
heard
I've got
stories
something to
about
talk about.
drive-ins, but sleeping wasn't ever part of it.
No, I'm telling the truth.
Has anybody tried to use the new portal with weapons and that? Because you can't.
No,
No,
it says
Yeah,
It says it in there that you can't, pretty much.
yeah, because you only have like 2,500 left or something like that.
Yeah, you can only put a
So,
special
yeah.
So you think we might get level 4 portals?
after
Oh,
OP12.
Oh, eventually, yeah, of course, yeah. We're gonna get level 4. Yeah, that's on the way. So,
Does anybody have any idea when? Has there been any rumors about when OP12 is coming? I mean, could it happen in the next?
it's coming soon. I don't know when.
Yeah. I'd say it'd be reasonably soon because they wanted us to upgrade the other two, the Tech Lab and what's the other one?
So maybe that's what's happening this week.
I thought it was said somewhere in the post that it was supposed to be February, so next month.
Well, that's next
Yeah,
week.
which is 6 days away. So yeah, hey,
Yeah.
Cuddlefoot,
But it also includes the 30th. So one of them is early February, which implies hopefully the first 2 weeks. But
Have you got the snack bar open, Hefe?
I
my favorite was on the
I
hot
don't
dog.
even know how to comment on that one, but yeah.
This one doesn't have the hot dog leaping in, does it?
I had a hot dog before. I didn't see what.
You've had a hot dog before, but what does that mean?
No, there was a hot dog up there on there before.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't watching it. So.
The all meat hot dog as opposed to the nowadays, more likely to get. I don't know. Hey, Cuddlefish, how are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Hello, everyone. I'm late and unprepared as I missed most of the show.
You
But I
missed all of
figured,
the show.
but I figured I'd join you during the break.
Okay. We're waiting them out for the when is
We might
BP
still
next
be
week?
in
Comes
next
them out.
Friday.
Well, I mean,
To the Wednesday show. So.
my suggestion was we all stayed very quiet, but
So
that
Cuddle,
didn't seem to work.
what's your thoughts on the PvP changes that are being discussed?
Well, I was very excited about getting into PvP with the new tier. I figured it was going to be a great time for me to get and try this side of the game, because normally I'm a heavy PvE player. This has changed my mind. I'm no longer looking forward to getting into PvP. This is kind of disappointing. No more prepping. That's upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact there are a new strategy has come up to win a battle. All you have to do is hide your buildings long enough, and if they time out, poof, you win. I don't know.
Who's breathing so heavily?
Not me, but
Heavy breather.
It's got to be Stormcatcher again.
Yeah.
no, he's a mute. Well, now he's a
Yeah, he
mute.
is now.
And now it's quiet.
Yeah, he just went mute.
Okay. That was distracting me. Go ahead, Cuddle.
Because you'd like the heavy breathing.
No, it's
I'm sorry, my sinuses are killing me. So
No, it's all good. You know, she sort of likes the heavy breathing.
no,
That's the whole
compliments.
And I found the portal to be very, very disappointing.
Because what did it get hit by?
Howlers. Melts like the other portal lasts almost as long as this one. Like the difference of like 0.05 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was with 120,000 explosive deflection on there. The most I could possibly put on there. And yeah, it just disappeared. Same as all my other portals. And that is the best this thing can get. Against any other defense, it is much, much weaker. And against radioactive, it has nothing. So this is it has a very short lifespan, like until the next Conqueror hull comes out. It does any different type of damage. And you lose 2 weapon slots.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know people say you can't put anything serious on there. But I had my glacial launcher turret on there. And you can put on other turrets which just do debuffing, that have a debuffing effect rather than a direct damage effect. So you lose a lot. You lose some power and you gain nothing.
I agree. It seems like mine didn't last any time either, and it picked the howlers, so I took it down. I'm not happy with it either, but it took every single bit of my base parts plus time to swap it out. So now I have to get base parts again, resources again to get rid of it. I think I'm going to get rid of mine. I don't think it was helpful.
Yeah, may as well go back to the other wall that has the chance of returning damage onto the enemy ships.
Right.
Whether or not it actually does that is irrelevant. You know, at least it will last the same amount of time, and I'll get my 4 turrets back.
Yep.
Yeah, the 830.
Intermission is over.
Yeah. Yes, the 830 penetrative thorn damage is not impressive, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe it will do something. Who knows? It's not going to, but the other wall doesn't either, and it drains me of time. I use tokens to put that up.
Yeah, I used a token too.
And because the first time it caught me, because unlike taking objects off of hulls, like weapons and specials and armor, which costs 0 time, taking the stuff off of buildings and turrets still costs time.
Yeah, well, what I do is I take those off, then I spend like 200 or 300k or whatever it is, refill it back up, so then you got that 300 or 400k back for putting the portal back on. And I think I had like 6.5 hours.
Yeah, I just made a mistake the first time.
Yeah. hour and a half here, Hefe. What do you want to do?
You know,
I don't know what you want to do.
that's a decision. You know, we got to face.
there's
Are we
lots of
gonna try? Are we gonna try and time them out? You know, or do we not want to? Do we want to go to the after show, or are we timing them out on what they're doing?
It's
You
like
know, the fact that they're not putting Beefy next week up. So, you know, that's the whole reason we're around at this point, is just merely to, you know.
They might be doing the same thing.
yeah, I guess
Yeah. It's sort of what's, if you watch TV in the U.S. at this point, the same thing is going on with, you know, the Democrats and the Republicans as far as what's going on with the impeachment trial. You know, we're timing each other out. You know, like, okay, we're gonna wear your ass out, and you know, it could go either way. You know, because they're keeping each other up until, like, you know, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, that's what's happening here. So I'm not sure if we need to keep kicks up till, you know, whatever time, just to put out the announcements. They might wait till the next day. I don't know. So I don't know. We can go to the after show and admit we lost. Admit we lost to, you know, the lack of information. We can't subpoena Julie. There's really no mechanism to subpoena them as far as what's going to happen next, and I'm cool with that. So, but I don't know. What do you guys want to do?
Well, it's a bit like the thumbs down, isn't it? I mean, there was 2 thumbs up and no thumbs down, and then you, when we were talking before, and you went off to get a drink, and within 2 seconds there was a thumbs down. So that's what's going to happen. We'll get off, and they'll post it.
Yeah. That's why I'm trying to figure out a tricky way to get on and off. But yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll proceed to the after show right now.
kicks one.
No, we didn't go. See, that's the whole, you know.
Oh, trying to psych them out.
Okay. So, alrighty. I don't know, if nobody wants to stick around and go to the after show, we can do that, and see you all, you know, soon after the announcements come out. You know, because I am curious what's happening with this one. So maybe we'll do a show at like 6 tomorrow. So, alrighty, people. You guys have a pleasant evening, and we'll see you all soon.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.